Hi, I'm Rebecca with the Parent Teacher Bridge, and welcome to Mailbag Monday, where I take the time to answer questions from parents like you who are searching for answers to best help their children learn. Before we get started, click the link in the description to get my free guide, 5 quick tips to immediately help your struggling reader. Our first question is, any advice for a child that easily gives up? Cutting practice, tracing, etc. If it's not perfect in his mind, he gives up. Well, when I first asked my son to start cutting and tracing using the traditional workbook format, I remember him giving up like this. I didn't want to push too hard and cause him to not like it, so I used other methods. Now, without knowing everything about your child or what the activity is that he's giving up on, I can't tell exactly why your child is giving up. But it is true that some children may put more pressure on themselves, and that is just their personality. But it's also true that sometimes as parents, and honestly school teachers too, we expect something out of a child that he may not be developmentally ready for. That being said, let's start with a very basic approach, both for cutting and tracing. Let's talk about cutting. Does your child hold scissors correctly? I make sure that young children have their thumb in the small hole and that it is on the top. Many young children do not hold scissors correctly and need practice in that alone. So of course that would be frustrating. Next, can your child cut a straight line? Just a straight line. When I buy a pre-K workbook at a discount store, there are cute pictures for the child to cut and paste. And I love that those are so readily available. However, it could be frustrating for a child if he can't cut a straight line, since it does expect them to make turns and corners as well. Next, has your child tried cutting thicker paper? Sometimes regular copy paper can be so floppy. You can try construction paper, index cards, or cardstock. Making any cuts, even without lines to follow, is beneficial in increasing your child's confidence, their strength, and fine motor skills. And when my 3-year-old cuts paper, she will often look at a piece that she cut, and then she decides what it looks like. Now, whatever it looks like, that's what she says it is. It's pretty adorable. Making these random cuts can be used in simple artwork for kids, such as a mosaic, or you can just throw them away. Now, if you like to stick to affordable and simple, you can gradually start drawing straight, then wavy, and then zigzag lines for your child to cut. I use a basic marker to do these lines, and if you are super organized and you like to plan ahead, you might try to print off some line cutting practice pages that are available online. I've even used these before for early learners. Sometimes they have graphics such as a bunny at one end and a carrot at the other end, but remember, print on cardstock. Now, with the right amount of some basic cutting practice, your child should gradually feel more confident in cutting out particular shapes. Now for tracing letters. Again, think foundational skills, such as, does your child hold his pencil appropriately? Can he trace straight lines from top to bottom? If the answer to both of these questions is yes, you can try making letters for him to trace without even using the traditional dotted lines. So I use a primary handwriting paper, you just get these at any dollar store, and a highlighter to make letters and my son's name to practice tracing. We also use it when we practice words that he has started reading. The highlighter, or even a yellow or orange marker, makes a thicker line, which is easier to trace than the traditional dotted line. Most of all, stay upbeat and positive and let your child see that sometimes you mess up. Show your child the right way to handle these disappointments. It does get better. So our next question is, I've thought about homeschooling my daughter next school year. Should I do anything this summer? Well, as many of you know, I currently homeschool my own children ages 9, 5, and 3. And while I do school year round, our summers are a bit more laid back. And to the parent who is thinking about homeschooling next year, here's what I have to say. First of all, find your homeschooling style. The summer is the best time for you as the parent to read up on as much as you can about different styles of homeschooling. You may not know which style fits you just yet, but knowing that it doesn't look the same for everyone is a good place to start. You will be doing the majority of the work this summer as you familiarize yourself with some sort of plan, which will inevitably change because that's just how teaching goes for anyone. Next of all, you need to research some materials. There are numerous programs that you can order and some that are completed online. There's so many that frankly it's overwhelming. Many parents decide to join social media groups so that they can get immediate feedback from other parents who have used a particular curriculum. When I have one that I'm interested in, I usually will see if there's another person who has a YouTube review on it so that I can see what the inside of the book looks like before I order it. Next of all, make social connections. See if there are any local clubs or co-op homeschool meeting groups. And if so, you may want to ask around on social media or even at your local library. Sometimes space is limited, so if this idea does interest you, don't wait till the end of the summer to sign up. Last of all, make it official. Be sure to touch base with the local school system and let them know that you intend to homeschool. Some parents pay a fee for an umbrella school, which takes care of this and guides you through the requirements. Take a refreshing summer break and get your feet wet with homeschooling. But remember, summer is a great time for you to try out homeschooling, maybe by making one subject at a time added to your schedule. Much of this is dependent on how old your child is, of course. So, can you try some homeschooling this summer? Absolutely. But there is a benefit to taking a break during the summer, particularly if your child is coming out of a difficult school year. Now, a few things you may want to try with your child are finding her official learning style so that if you buy a curriculum, you can predict what might be a good fit. There are some online questionnaires that you can use to help single this down. You might also try subscribing to an educational magazine that piques her interest. My children have enjoyed Zoo Books and Ranger Rick Jr., but there are others that will interest older children. Try subscribing to a science experiment service that sends you projects to try at home. You can also use the summer to take some placement tests if needed so that you can get the right level of curriculum. And usually the placement test is free on the curriculum's website. Set aside time this summer and make reading a priority. But most importantly, be flexible. This was stressed in college and at the schools where I taught. Be flexible. Give yourself some grace to slow down, take a break, and sometimes modify the plan that you thought would work perfectly. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, comment below which idea you liked best. If you like to ask a question for our mailbag, please leave your question in the comments section. And don't forget to click the link below to get my free ebook, 5 Quick Tips to Immediately Help Your Struggling Reader. Subscribe to my channel and make sure you hit the subscribe button. You can also find the Parent Teacher Bridge on Facebook and Instagram. And be sure to visit my website, theparentteacherbridge.com, for more help with your child's learning. Remember, you are your child's most influential teacher.